it's me again, and we're going to go over the solution to a container with most water. Sorry this took so long to put up. I will also copy this so that I can send this link to you guys in the YouTube channel. So I actually wrote this in JavaScript originally and was dealing with someone who writes in Java. So I actually ended up writing the solution in Java as well, which was really cool. We can go over both if you'd like. But let's go over the JavaScript answer first, right? So what I do first is I define the variables that I need. I don't always know exactly which ones I need when I start, but I knew I was going to need a left and a right pointer, and I knew that I needed some way to track the area. All right, and as pointers go, it's almost always better to use a while loop. This is kind of the standard syntax that you will see for all two-pointer problems. And, basically you just increment. So then I thought about it too, and I'm like, well, I actually need to hold what the values of the left and the right height are, as well as the distance between the 2 pointers, right? So remember, our area is length times width, right? And our width is the distance between the right and the left pointer. Now, it's important to know that it's the right minus the left, right? Because if our width is 5, and the left pointer is on, say, like the first index 1, it's 5 minus 4, or 4 minus 1. Sorry, because right is length minus 1, right? So it's 4 minus 1, which is 3. It's not 1 minus 4, right? So that's important. Right minus left. I mean, that should be pretty straightforward. And then I thought about it too, and I'm like, well, I actually need a way of tracking what the max height between any one of those 2 pointers is. Remember, if one wall is smaller than the other, what happens, right? The water flows over on the side that's smaller. So the max height is really the height of our container. It's the limiting factor, right? If you guys are familiar with that term. And so this is just ternary for anyone who's not familiar with how these work. This is basically an if-else statement that says if the left is greater than the right, then we are going to make the max height the right side, else the left. Now, for people who are familiar with ternaries, you probably caught this, but if you're not, you may or may not have noticed that it's reversed. If the left is greater than the right, then return the right. Well, why would you do that? Because remember, the max height is the smaller of the 2, not the larger. So if left is bigger than right, then you actually want to return the right. If the left is smaller than the right, then you want to return the left. And so that's what this ternary does. And then we say, so whichever area is larger, right? So now we're actually at the place where I was talking about, where we're comparing the area between the, that we're looking at with our 2 pointers, right? So if you can imagine, like we have our left pointer has a wall of height of 4, and our right pointer has a wall of 5, right? So now our max height is 4, so it's the smaller of the 2, and let's say the width between those is 3, right? So our area now is 12. And let's say our area before that, when we moved our pointers, was 3. Well, 12 is greater than 3, right? So what this if statement just checks is, and you may not have seen it as a one-liner like this, but when you only have one return statement, you don't need the brackets. So basically it just says if the new area is greater than the the current max height times distance, right? So we're looking at it and we're saying, is this new area bigger than the old area? If it is, replace it. And then we just determine which pointer to increment or decrement. Remember, when we're looking at this, we have 2 pointers, and we're only moving one of them. The one that we're going to move is whichever one was smaller. If the left side was lower than the right side, then the left side gets incremented. If the right side was lower than the left, then we decrement the right. And refer to the previous video to understand more of what that means. And then we just return the max area. And that's it. That's all there is to it. I'll show you guys what it looks like in Java, which apparently is pretty much identical to how it's written in JavaScript. So if you guys are good with that, go ahead. Otherwise, please feel free. I'll go over the solution in Java, right? So this was a cool experience. I have never written in Java before, and I was so happy to do this. So I did this with the help of a programmer who knows Java, and basically was able to tell me, you know, this is how you declare this variable or this variable. The logic is the same no matter what language you're writing in. And that's important, right? Because, you know, if you're on an interview, they don't care what language you're writing in. They just want to see your logic, right? I mean, they might care, but so in Java, you have to declare your variables, right? So, and when they're arrays, you actually have to declare them twice. You have to declare the inside of the array and that it's an array, right? So here we declare the return type of the function, which will be an integer, right? And this is the argument, right? So it takes in an integer array, right? So it's an array of heights, right? And so here we go. We have our max area, which is an integer, our left and our right pointer, which are both integers. While loop is the same. You write these almost identically too. You just have to declare that the data type is an integer. Same things here. Ternary is identical. And you know, the only big difference between writing it in Java and writing it in JavaScript is that you have to declare your variable types. Other than that, I mean, it really doesn't make and you write it inside of a class. I mean, but this is given to you by LeetCode, so you don't even have to know whether you have to declare it as public or private. So yeah, that's I'll let you guys look at this for a second, soak it in, and you know, as always, it's been a blast. Thank you so much.